What's a company secret you can share now that you don't work there? I used to work surveillance at a casino. From something like 3 stories high ceiling, we could zoom in on money on the table games and read the serial numbers of the bills. We could see the pips on the dice. Policy was to not look down blouses. In Vegas, everybody's gotta watch everybody else. Since the players are looking to beat the casino, the dealers are watching the players. The boxmen are watching the dealers. The floormen are watching the boxmen. The pit bosses are watching the floormen. The shift bosses are watching the pit bosses. The casino manager is watching the shift bosses. I'm watching the casino manager, and the eye in the sky is watching us all. Worked at a major cable/ISP, and there 4 billing cycles. They upgraded the billing system, but did something wrong, and all but the current cycle got a late charge. But instead of fixing it immediately, we were told to credit their account if the customer called in. I did the math, and for the size of our city and the 3/4 of people wrongly charged, it was over $1 million USD. Most people just pay their bill and don't look to close. Edit, it was Time Warner, which was bought out a couple times in my area. Arby's manager replaced the expiration stickers on the bread with new ones. I guess so the bread would last longer that way. I threw out 100 plus pitas with green fuzz on them after checking the manager's work. I worked for a large construction company, and the sales guys would intentionally omit items from contracts because they received incentives for what would then become a change order. Me, you forgot to include any framing in this contract. Sales weasel, oh, I guess it's a change order then. Customer cries. I used to work at a graphic design firm. All our Adobe software was pirated. From what I've heard about Adobe, if I was in that game, I'd be pirating too. All new clothing and everything you try on is dirty. I've worked in retail for years and it still shocks people, but there's no washing machine or disinfectant spray or wipes. Nothing. I've opened boxes of new clothes that had white bugs coming out of it. Seen woman after a workout class come and try clothes on, then just leave still sweaty from the class. One older lady left dime-sized skin flakes in the clothes she tried on. Not to mention whatever happens when they return the item or what happened in the factory. People are gross. Nothing is clean. Always wash your clothes when you get them home. Inbound call center. The "we are currently experiencing an unusually high call volume" message is permanent. They just didn't staff adequately. I worked as a dog groomer for a summer. We gave your dog a treat even if they weren't good. Scandalous. If you don't hear music when you're supposedly on hold, the operator simply muted their mic and can still hear you. I've heard interesting and damning things while they thought I couldn't hear them. I worked for a restoration company. One time an elderly woman called them to clean her house. She was a hoarder or there had been a fire. I can't remember. Anyway, the company charged $57,000 for the work to be done, but in actuality, they couldn't even get the charges to add up to $20,000. She couldn't file this on her insurance. There are other examples of gross overcharging, but this is the worst I know of that wasn't on the large loss side. The lesson here: if you have water, fire, mold, or hoarder damage and call in a company to clean it up, go through every line item on the invoice, every single one. The difference between the high-quality deli meat sold at M&S and the regular deli meat sold in other grocery stores is that we changed the label. We would literally stop the production line, wait for the guy who ran the label machine to swap them out, and then start it back up again. This is not an uncommon occurrence across any product. ETA, the concept of perceived quality fascinates me. I work in wine manufacturing and it's incredible what people will spend on wine because the packaging makes it appear high or low quality. Marketing also plays a big role, of course. Store/generic brands don't advertise, or advertise much less, so costs can stay low. Cheaper packaging, cheaper advertising, same product, lower price. Hotels do not typically have security, maintenance, or housekeeping on staff 24/7. Once housekeeping finishes cleaning all the rooms, the entire staff leaves except for one front desk employee. Yeah, the amount of times at the time a 19-year-old kid was left completely alone at a mid-size and largely recognizable hotel brand was honestly kinda wild. I had essentially no clue what I was doing. People would call that something in their room was broken, and literally the best I could do was go up and just kinda troubleshoot random shit. And then during that time, the front desk was completely unattended, and this was at like 9 p.m. too, not 3 a.m. One of our best restaurants in my town is locally famous and everyone goes there. They say everything is homemade. The thing they're famous for is the hot beef sandwiches with homemade potatoes and gravy, and the fish fry. The fish fry they also have during the week, listed as an entree called the cod platter. It is instant Cisco brown gravy mix and instant Cisco mashed potatoes. The cod is only fresh and fried on Fridays. If you order it during the week, it is frozen breaded Cisco fish fillets, aka a blend of random fish shaped into a stick. I worked at L'Oreal. The cosmetics from L'Oreal and Lancome are practically the same, but Lancome costs like $20 more. I'm 90% sure a company I worked for was importing product from China, repacking it, and selling it as made in USA, i.e. blending it with the product we did make in the US. If you were on live chat with customer care, I could see what you were typing before pressing send. I watched people work through grotesque, racist, sexist statements, fraudulent lies and mistruths, meticulous grammar fixes, and their whole range of emotions in real time before deleting and typing okay. I worked for a major hotel chain in housekeeping for over 10 years. The number of suicides and people who die naturally in their rooms is a lot higher than you'd think. I worked at a huge convention hotel with over 1,000 rooms, and it happened quite often. Unless it was a pretty gnarly mess, it would just get cleaned like normal and the next guest had no idea. At one of the hotels I worked at, a woman killed herself by drinking antifreeze. Her body was blue, blood, vomit, and poop everywhere. My friend who was maintenance saw it and couldn't sleep that night. Working at hotels will change you. Ice manufacturing. My shift manager dropped a 7-gram bag of weed in a bag of ice. It went out for delivery. No one ever phoned in to complain though. Yo, but did anyone phone in to thank you? Government-funded refugee advocacy agencies at a time were approving a disproportionate amount of young women 18 to 25 from Syria and Iraq with sexual assault history for their services. Upon further investigation, I and my team discovered consultants from said agency were engaging in sexual relationships with these girls. They were denying them opportunities of employment to keep them in financial destitution purposely. When the girls became desperate, the offer of private prostitution was made by the consultants. I whistle blew to the organization head. They thanked me, and the consultants were gone the next day. Huge meeting with senior board. Apologies, this isn't the way we do things. Speech, blah blah blah. And within 3 months, me and the other 6 other complainants and investigators had all resigned from the company for different reasons. On paper, it looks coincidental. In reality, we were all individually pushed out. 2 of the consultants that we uncovered were doing the worst were not fired. They were given the option to resign and are currently working at other agencies with vulnerable young women. I used to work as a receptionist at an upscale salon. While I was there, the salon introduced a new line of products marketed towards men. Up until that point, most of our products were marketed towards women, but the execs saw that we were getting more male customers. Every item in the men's product line was about half the cost of our other products. The men's shampoo was the exact same shampoo the salon had been selling for years, but because they put it in black packaging with the word man on it, it was half the price. The owner's explanation was, well, men don't want to pay that much for hair products. For the rest of the time I worked there, every time a woman came up to buy that shampoo, I'd tell her that the men's shampoo was the exact same product for half the price. Worked in insurance. Hundreds of people have access to your SSN with no security clearance or background check. The same is true of every HR office in existence. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to share your story in the comments. See you tomorrow.